And with regards to what a collocation is and how it is formed and all that, we have had a very detailed discussion in the previous session. If you've been in the class, good enough. If not, of course, it's available online. You can follow it up on the YouTube using the links that would be updated in your. Let's begin. We'll not waste much of a time now. I am going to share the screen with you, and just let me know if you're able to see it clearly. We'll be discussing the questions and we'll move along. Okay. Just give me a minute. Yeah. Okay. Do you see the screen clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. We'll be discussing this question. The previous class we have been doing this one, the collocation, or what's also called the grammatical collocation. Okay, this is what we did. So I hope that part is clear. Now, the second part to that. This is more of lexical collocation, right? So look at the question. Look at each group of adjectives and from the list below, choose an adverb to go in front of them. Use each adverb only once. Okay. So which means we are going to deal with the collocation between the adjectives and adverbs, and this is an example of what? Lexical collocation, right? We look at a series of lexical 6 combinations that are possible, right? So we started off with discussing all that. So we know we have when we talk about lexical collocation, you have a combination between an adjective and a preposition. You can have an adjective and a noun. You can have noun and a noun. You can have adverb and adjective. You can have a verb followed by a prepositional phrase, right? All of these 6 combinations are possible with lexical collocations. We are just taking one example of that, which is the adjective-adverb combination. I told you in the last class that this adjective-adverb combination is something that you must be very careful about. And you should always have a watch for this when you're reading or when you're listening to people or listening to, say, watching a series or anything, whatever activities you undertake to learn the language. Please pay special attention to this adjective-adverb combination. This is because this particular combination helps you a lot to build up your vocabulary. This is the point I told you last time. So if you know a few combinations of this nature, your speech and your writing, all of it, it drastically improves. Like there's a lot of change that you see, sweeping changes in the way you represent your thoughts to other people, right? There are high counts. You will see adjectives, we know they are descriptive words, and adverbs also are descriptive words. Adverbs, because they are also capable of showing the manner, place, time, etc. They're all words that help you add details, to add further elaborations to how you speak or you write. In that sense, it's a very good vocabulary builder. So when you read and write, please have a special focus on all of these, particularly this combination, the adjective-adverb combination. Okay, they add very good flavors to the way you communicate. Okay, so that said, we have a list of adverbs in the box, as you see, about 10 of them. And below, there are a group of adjectives that are very frequently used along with these adverbs. Okay, so remember, collocation is about what? Co-occurrence of a pair frequently, right? We discussed all of this in the last class. So just look at those examples, all those questions one by one, and you have to choose one adverb from the box given, which will be the most suitable with the group of adjectives that's mentioned for each of the points. Okay, so we'll begin with the first one. The first one is different, frank, committed to, unacceptable, opposed to. So these are all adjectives, right? They're all adjectives that could go with one of the adverbs that's given in the bracket. Which one do you think is the most suitable one here?
Highly.
You can also note, I'll talk to you about it. Just let me finish this point. So you will see that most of the adverbs we are using this combination are ly, sorry, not adjectives, adverbs are ly adverbs, right? And ly adverbs are mostly, right? Not saying all of them or every adverb that you see without an ly is a different category from adverb of manners, but mostly ly category adverbs are adverbs of manner. So they tell you something more about, they add to the manner in which something has happened. So just keep that one extra information also in mind. Highly, you said, right? The answer was highly different, highly frank, highly committed to, highly unacceptable. Have you seen these combinations before anywhere? Highly?
I think totally. Totally, I have seen totally committed, totally different.
Totally different, totally unacceptable, right? These you
Yes.
said, right? So highly is not something that you can use here. The very thing that you told me that I have seen this elsewhere. Now, this is the major catch of collocation, right? Seen together frequently. That's the whole point. I think I've had a brief discussion on this in the last class when we were discussing. I said some people, sometimes when people go wrong, they write to us quoting articles saying that, but I have seen this combination. So you could have combination, no word combination, if it is not semantically exclusive. That is, if it doesn't have a problem with the kind of meaning it generates. If it does not produce, say, an unacceptable meaning, then all combinations are allowed. Okay, unless it is something that is not meaning-wise accepted. But the point with collocation is this exactly the same thing that you saw. I have seen. So there is a co-occurrence of this thing, and it is seen together most of the time. That's the point of collocation. Only those kind of pairs, not all combinations. Okay. So in that sense, it's not a random combination. Okay, you're right. So the first blank would be totally, right? Totally different, totally frank person, totally committed to a cause, totally unacceptable. This behavior is totally unacceptable. I am totally opposed to this plan. Okay. So the first answer would be totally. The most appropriate collocation to go together would be totally. Second one, dash confidential, limited, forbidden, necessary, true.
I guess strictly confidential, strictly limited.
Strictly forbidden, strictly necessary. You might have not seen strictly necessary and true that much, but that's also a very frequently occurring combination. So strictly confidential and strictly forbidden, strictly limited are the ones which you might have seen most often. But yes, that's the answer. Strictly confidential, strictly limited, strictly forbidden. Okay. Now the third one, dash automatic. This should be easy for you.
Fully.
Aware, justified, insured, fully,
Fully.
right? This is something that we keep saying every time. Fully automatic, fully aware person, fully justified, fully insured, right? Fully comprehensive. Okay, one dash clear, happy, understandable, safe, reasonable.
Perfectly.
Perfect. Right? Perfectly happy. I'm perfectly happy. This is perfectly understandable. Perfectly safe. Okay, this is a perfectly safe method to use. So the most appropriate one among the group is perfectly, right? You can use perfectly with the fourth one. Fifth one, guarded, armed, dependent, either. So that bracket means it can either be used along with on or without on, right? So you'll see constructions both with on and without on. Same with influenced by. Built, guarded,
Heavily.
armed, heavily, right?
Yeah.
Heavily built, heavily guarded, heavily armed, heavily dependent, heavily influenced. Okay, heavily would be the word that goes there. Next one, sixth one, infectious, probable, skilled, profitable, and critical. Something is a dash infectious disease. Something is That skill. Answer?
Highly infectious, highly skilled.
Highly infectious, highly professional.
Ma'am, your voice is not audible.
I think, there would have been some problem with the yeah, I was using speaker probably got switched off. Okay. But you can hear me now, right? Okay, can you guys hear me? Yeah, can you hear me or is it difficult?
Now it's clear, ma'am.
It's clear. Okay, all right.
Yes,
I think I was connected to a Bluetooth device. It got switched off. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, so we were looking at sixth one. So the answer is highly infectious, highly probable, highly skilled, highly profitable, highly critical, right? So that would be the answer. If you've gone through the seventh one already, what would be the answer? Miserable, professional, ashamed, spoiled, unpleasant. Dash miserable, dash professional.
I guess seriously.
No. Okay,
Not
so
sure.
this is a special sort of no, not a special one. This is also again a very commonly used construction. Not seriously, with adjectives of this fashion, you use the word thoroughly. Okay,
Thoroughly. Okay.
thoroughly miserable, thoroughly. Okay, somebody is thoroughly professional means that person is very professional. This is a replacement for the word very. extremely professional, or in all these cases, the better word to be used would be thoroughly, thoroughly professional. I'm thoroughly ashamed of this act. Okay, talks about extremely. Okay, something fully, very ashamed. So that is thoroughly, thoroughly miserable, thoroughly professional, thoroughly ashamed, thoroughly spoiled child, thoroughly unpleasant incident. Okay. Now the eighth one
It will be
is
seriously.
dash ill. This could be seriously, right? Seriously ill, seriously worried, seriously injured, seriously weakened, seriously wrong. So this could be seriously. Now the ninth one is dash disappointed, impressed, suspicious, shocked, religious.
Totally.
So we are left with two options: deeply and widely. Widely. We have used the rest of the ones.
Deeply.
We're left with only deeply.
Deeply
Right?
impressed.
I'm deeply
Deeply suspicious. Yes.
disappointed, deeply suspicious, deeply shocked, deeply religious. Okay. And the 10th one is obviously the answer is widely. Widely differing opinions, widely accepted notion, widely known individual, widely available equipments, widely respected personality. Okay, all of them will go together with the adverb widely. Okay, now this is something that you can practice in order to improve your vocabulary. We've already, since we discussed this one already, I'm going to take up another one with the lexical. When we discuss the lexical combinations in the next page, I have put up a list of adverbs that are very regularly used. Let me share the screen with you. I'm closing this one. I'll take the other one now. Screen share. Is the other one? Yeah, okay. Yeah, this one. We have a set of them here also, the adverb and the adjective combination. I'll discuss a few with you, and then you can take a note of this. And when you have the documents with you, try and practice with these things. Okay, put them up online. Actually, it's easy to look them up. You have the any online collocation dictionary you can use to do this exercise. Okay, it's not a difficult task. So if you can come up with a few words on your own, then it's a good thing. Or write them down and check with the dictionary if the dictionary accepts it as a collocational word, or a collocational combination in English, right? So that practice you can do. Now that you have understood how to form the combinations of adverb and adjective, okay, or what do they do? One good thing about looking at the dictionary is that they also show you a lot of usages with, in the actual language. So see them and you will know it better. This one is the second one that we're going to do. Don't bother with the session titles since we changed the order of the videos in the actual run. You may not find this in tandem. And also word collocation was supposed to be in week 3 or 4, I think. 3. But I have put it aside because there were other serious topics to discuss. Okay, so in this part, we're looking at the classification based on word class particularly. Okay, so lexical collocations, that means. I just want to discuss a few things only, just show you a few things rather than making you work on something. So I told you when we were discussing the lexical collocation that the most commonly found lexical combination, even among the 6 combinations that we have, is the adjective and the noun one, right? That's the most widely seen collocation among the word classes. But the thing with adjective and noun combination is that you will see that there are weak collocations. That is, there are ones which are very weak in strength, which means it can have a lot of possible combinations. And there could be something that could be a strong collocation, which means you will only find a combination between these 2 words. It's extremely difficult to find something like that otherwise, right? But the examples that you see here, good, bad, these are both adjectives. Now, this is that kind of an adjective which can have, which forms a very weak collocational bond between, between the other word in the pair. By weak collocational strength, we just mean that there could be a lot of combinations using this adjective, right? Keep in mind, the combinations are many in number, but they are not infinite in number. Okay, so there is a limit to forming combinations with good. Like last time I gave you an example that you can say good boy, good girl, all of that, but you can't say a good death, right? Or you can't say good accident. So the reason is that there is no semantic acceptance to it. Like it is not accepted in the culture or in the among the speakers because it does not give you any straightforward meaning. It is
Excuse me, ma'am, I cannot understand you.
it does
Your
not
voice
give
is
you any
breaking.
girl, good food, good work. No, I said that words like good and bad cannot have, they have very weak collocation. Yes. Can you hear now? Are you able to hear me, guys? Okay. Am I audible now? You able to hear me?
Yes,
It's raining heavily here, so there will be interruptions in the Wi-Fi connections. Sorry about that. Let's see. I'll share the screen again. I was saying that the collocational strength between adjective and nouns, they can vary from being weak to strong. And what we mean by that is that if you have a weak collocational strength, it just means that there are several possible combinations between that adjective and other nouns, right? But when I say several, I do not mean indefinite or infinite, right? There is definitely there is a definite set of words that can form combinations with these words, but that set is a little huge, right? That is what we mean by weak collocational strength. When I say strong bond or strong strength in collocation, I mean that there are not many combinations possible, right? That's the only meaning. So it's completely based on the number of combinations possible with the adjective. Good and bad is an example of weak collocational strength, which means you can have several possible combinations with the adjective good and bad, right? Good girl, good boy, good food, good day, good work, bad day, a lot of these things, good and bad, actually the bad can take most of the nouns that goes with good also, but just it means the opposite of what good means, that's all, right? So in that sense, they work very similar to each other. But there could be other examples. I'll give you examples, as we move further. There are other examples of adjectives which are very strong. You can find them in combination only a few words. You cannot have every other noun forming or majority of the nouns forming combinations with it, right? That's the preliminary thing that you have to keep in mind when we talk about a combination like adjective and noun, a lexical collocation between adjective and noun, okay? Now, what are the other examples? So good, bad, good food, good girl. There can be several other combinations possible. You can also come up with anything, any word you want. Bad work, bad day, right? So good, bad are then weaker collocations. Then easy and simple. Even these are, something that would be considered as a weak collocational bond. So easy method, easy book. You can use the adjective easy with several other words to form a combination. Same goes for simple, right? So that's what we meant by weaker collocational strength. Now try and look at the next set of words you have, right? You have heavy and weighty, you have fat and thick, You also have happy and cheerful. Try to form combinations with these words. Just give me at least 1 or 2 examples with each of them. Try and form examples. Heavy. Let's take the first one. Heavy.
It's rain heavily. It's raining heavily.
Heavy. No, just use it as, like you would say, simple person. So something like that. Heavy book, or say heavy board, or heavy bag, right? Something like that. What examples can you give with heavy? Other examples? I'm just trying to drive in a point. I just want to show you the difference between what we mean
Heavy
by
sack of rice.
heavy sack of rice. Yes, good. Right. So that is one example. And heavy, you can have several examples. Like I already gave 3 or 4. You said a sack of rice. If others try, they can also come up with a few more. Now look at the second one that you have there. Weighty. Weighty. Can you give me a few words with weighty? Collocation, I mean. Okay.
Weighty luggage.
Weighty luggage. Can you do that? I am not sure if I have seen that combination anywhere. Try harder. Have you seen this word anywhere?
Weighty consideration. Like the consideration have
Weighty
lots of weight.
consideration.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. A lot of this looks like possible to us, but then you will actually see that you won't have much of option when it comes to this. The reason is that weighty looks very similar to heavy, right? They mean mostly the same. However, when you use them as collocations, you will see that not every word that goes with heavy can be used with weighty. Right?
So weighty book.
Weighty book? No, you'll say heavy book.
Yeah, we say heavy book, but just
So see, a weighty, something you said before this. Something you said before this, I think if I'm not wrong, I remember decision. So you can say a weighty decision. Okay.
okay.
Or you can say a weighty matter, right? But you don't say weighty bag or weighty book, right? That you will always use heavy bag, heavy book, or some other synonyms if possible for that, right? So this is one.
Or how about
again,
issues? Issues, weighty issues.
Issues.
No?
Yes, weighty issues. One problem I want to highlight here, particularly with respect to synonyms, a lot of people, what do? The moment they have synonyms, they think that, since I can say heavy bag, I can also say weighty bag because weighty appears to be a synonym of heavy. Keep in mind that does not work like that. A lot of people who learn vocabulary, try to grasp on the vocabulary that way. But that's not how it works. Language has its usage. So a weighty bag is not something that is allowed or is considered to be a good combination in English, which is why even though weighty is, a synonym for heavy, in usage or in functionality, you would not choose to use weighty with luggage or weighty with book, right? So usage, since collocation is a part I discussed in the last class, collocation is more about how you use the language or how the language has been used by the speaker or that community. So this point is very important when it comes to how you learn language, right? So don't just blindly, mindlessly use synonyms with your sentences. See if that is an acceptable usage. See if and when we say acceptable usage, we are actually referring to if the word you used is allowed in that collocation in the language, right? Okay, so this was the first example we had. So we clearly see that though heavy and weighty mean this, right? They have shades of similar meaning. We see that in collocation, you cannot use everything that you use with heavy with weighty. And in some cases, you cannot use everything that goes with weighty with heavy also, right? So they'll have to be learned as usages and functional elements rather than just synonyms or thick. Okay, thick and fat looks they have similar shades of meaning. However, you will not be allowed to use every combination that's possible with fat with thick. In combinations, fat may have more number of combinations allowed, but thick maybe not that much. Okay. Do you want to try making words with fat?
Fat person, fat girl, fat man.
Okay. And anything beyond that? Fat man, fat woman. Then fat income, fat chance, right? A lot of that. A lot, many possible combinations are there with fat. But how about thick? How about
Thick hair, thick bread,
hair? Yes. Thick what?
bread, thick slice of bread,
Okay. Then
thick book,
thick glasses, thick carpet, like thick book. Yes. A thick coat, right? Anything is possible with this combination also, right? So what do you see? What is the difference between fat and thick? Can you use thick to refer to a person? No, right? But fat can be used. So these kind of differences in semantic usages exist between the words fat and thick, although they have similar shades of meaning, right? Fat can be used, you see that fat can be used with both things and people, right? In case of thick, you do not usually use the adjective thick with people. That's not possible. So these kind of two kinds of thing would exist here. One is that fat will, because it can be used for both people and things, definitely it's going to have more combinations. So it's a widely used word. But thick, because it has a restriction of semantics, that is meaning-wise acceptable restrictions, it's going to have a lesser number of collocations possible with it, right? And hence, although they have similar shades of meaning, we'll see that the number of combinations with both of them would differ. One is say a little, what do you call it? The weak collocational word, and the other one is a stronger collocational word. Thick is obviously a little stronger because it does not, there are restrictions to the combinations it can form. Whereas fat will have more combinations, like how we discussed. So it's considered a weaker collocation. Okay. Is this point clear to you? Yes, no?
yes, ma'am.
So same is the case with the third example you have here, happy and cheerful. Okay, looks similar to each other. However, you will see that there are restrictions put on these words on what kind of words it can form combinations with. Okay, just like we saw in the case of fat and thick. Just try to do this exercise on your own. See if you can, come up with examples and see it to yourself that the list of the combinations that you can have with each of them varies. One has more and the other has less. Right. Next one is the verb plus noun combination, and let's try to do this. And just keep in mind when you look at the verb and noun combination, you can have several collocations with them also, like the previous case. But especially in the case of verb and noun combination, you will see that some of the combinations will give you an obvious meaning, right? And the other one might give you slightly a sort of a metaphorical or a non-literal figurative meaning also. I'll demonstrate it with the help of the first example. So what can you use along with play? What collocation can you form?
Playful.
This is verb plus noun. No. This is a combination, right? So some noun has to follow it.
Play games.
Play games, okay? And let's say something like play the music, right? So play the music is an obvious, straightforward example. You know what we mean by play the music, right? And you have play the fool. Don't play the fool with me. You might have heard this, right? So one of it has an obvious meaning. Somebody is asking you to switch on the music system, and it's almost like a straightforward meaning. Okay. Or play games. Actually, in fact, more than play the music, I think a better example would be the one that you gave me. Play games, right? because play is a verb that is directly associated with the noun games, like you play games. Whereas something like play the
Play trick also is one.
play the trick or play the music or play the fool, they all
Play
give you some
fool.
sort of a figurative meaning, right? They don't give you a literal meaning, but more like a metaphorical figurative meaning, right? Something that is not very literal in a sense, right? So in this combination, you can have both the collocation, which is straightforward, which gives you a literal straightforward meaning, and the one which can give you a metaphorical meaning, right? This is just one point that I wanted you to remember. Now, the second one, run.
Run a business.
Run a business, very good. So that is an example of a metaphorical one, right? So
And
it means to
run
manage
out of time.
run out of time, or you can also say run a race, right? Run a race gives you a straightforward meaning, right? You're right. Run a, what was that? The answer that you gave me was run a business and run
Run out of time.
Run out of time. Okay, run out of time is fine. Run the business is fine. Run for the president, right? You might have heard this. Someone who's, this means contesting to the post of president. Run a race. All of these are examples with run. Then you have the next one, set.
Set an example.
Set an example, set a record, set the time, right? Any of those. So among this, set the time, yes, looks like a more literal one, and set a record is a little figurative. Okay? Not extremely, but little figurative.
Set a fire. Set an alarm.
Set an alarm, yes, set an alarm. All of set an alarm again is a literal one. Then the next one, break.
Break the ice.
Break the ice, yes. Then
Break the bar.
break the
Bars.
break the bus. What's the second? What's the spelling for the second, the word that you used? Who responded? I did not hear you clearly. Break the bus or bus? Okay, all right. So you have
Have a break.
have a break is different. Have a break is an example of de-lexicalized. Okay, that's
Ma'am,
not a combination.
hello.
Of, yes, yes.
I'm saying break the bars. B-A-R-S.
B-A-R-S.
Yeah.
Sure, if bars, that's the usage. We'll check. Okay, break the bars, no. What's the meaning of break the bars?
Ma'am, your voice is not clear. Hello.
It's clear, ma'am. No.
Okay.
Ma'am.
I do not
Hello?
know. Yeah, you're audible. I think you have audio issues, is it?
Okay.
Maybe some problem with your connection. Unless others are able to, others also are not able to. Break
Another
the,
example is break even point, we say in business.
what is that? Sorry?
Break even means no
Break
profit,
even.
no loss.
Yes, yes. Yes, break even. Yes, break even is also an example. Break the bars. I was just trying to get the meaning of what break the bars means. Okay. Okay, apply strong force. Okay, you can use that also, break the bars. But that is again a literal meaning. Okay, I was trying to figure out if it has some other meaning beyond the literal. Okay, okay. So break all the examples that you gave me. Then break a record. Okay, break the law. All of them are acceptable answers. Catch. Catch.
Catch a cold.
Catch a cold, yes, catch a cold. Catch a thief, right? Any example?
Like catch you later.
Catch you later, huh? We're looking at verb-noun combinations. So catch a
Okay.
thief, catch a cold would be a better answer.
Okay, catch your breath.
Catch a breath, yes. Catch a breath is also a good example. Okay.
Catch someone's eye.
Sorry?
Catch someone's eye.
Catch someone's eye. Okay, yeah, fine. That's also good. So catch someone's eye, catch a cold, catch a breath, all of them would be figurative. And catch a thief would be your literal one.
And catch someone red-handed.
Catch someone red-handed, yes. Okay, now next is earn.
Earn points.
Earn
Earn,
points. Earn points. Okay, earn an
Earn
income.
money.
earn money.
Sorry, earn money. Yes, earn money.
Money.
Yes, earn an income, earn money, earn time, earn the respect. Right? Any of those could be possible. I wanted to add one more to this. I'm just going to add it here. Let's say PE. Okay. So pay. Next one, pay.
Pay a visit.
Pay a visit. Yes. Pay the bill. Pay a visit. Pay your respects. Right?
Pay attention.
Pay attention. Yes. Okay. Good. Good. All of them are fine. Keep. Keep. The very commonly used one is what? Keep
Keep a
quiet.
secret.
Keep a secret. Keep
Keep
quiet.
quiet.
Calm.
Keep quiet.
Yes.
Keep in touch.
Yes. Throw. Ninth one. Throw. Throw a party. Haven't you heard this? Throw a party. Right? Throw the toes. Right? For the match, people throw toes. So throw a toes, throw a party, or anything which has a literal meaning like throw the ball. Right? All of them can be used. All right. 10th one. Save.
Time.
Save time. Yes.
Save
Money.
energy.
Then
Save
save
money.
money. Yes, save money, save time. What was the other answer?
Save energy.
Save energy. Yes, a lot of combinations, right? So a lot of them possible. Okay, so this is an example of the verb and the noun combination. The thing that you would remember here is that some of the combinations will have literal meanings, whereas the others are going to have metaphorical meanings. Okay, that's all from here. This is the adverb-adjective combination. I'm not going to take up all of them. Maybe I'll just discuss the first set of few of them so that you have an idea. They're the same. They're very similar to the first exercise that we did. Just a set of different adverbs. That's all. Okay? That time we were looking at the adverbs, and this time we are going to add adjectives to it. That's all. Okay. So what can you use with extremely?
Extremely hot or extremely cold.
Yes, extremely hot, extremely cold. Again, this is going to have a very huge list. Okay, you can say extremely absent, extremely abusive, extremely abstract, anything you can say, right? This is going to have a very huge list. So this is something that means is a word, is an adverb which is going to have a weak collocational strength when used with an adjective, right? Highly. I think
Highly
we discussed
suspicious.
highly already. Highly suspicious, highly successful, highly significant, highly likely. Okay? All of those things can be used. Then insufferably. Insufferably. Insufferably means something that is unbearable, to the extent that is very unpleasant and very annoying. So you can say insufferably hot, insufferably cold. Okay. The winters here are insufferably cold. Okay. Summers here are insufferably hot. Another word that you can use for extremely, that's all. Okay, then slightly.
Again, slightly cold or hot.
Slightly cold, slightly hot, slightly unfitting, slightly absent-minded. Many things. You can use many of those. Marginally.
Marginally good.
Marginally good, marginally better, marginally relevant, marginally successful. Okay, any of those. Rather. Again, a large list, right? You can say rather
Ma'am cannot hear you.
Yeah, I'm saying rather can be used with again a very huge list. Okay? For example, could be rather different, rather large, rather good, rather bad, rather unacceptable. Okay? You can have a very huge list with rather also. Good to have a look at all of these adverbs, at least if not the adjectives.
Ma'am, your voice is very low.
Focus more on the adverb part here than the adjective. And, sorry?
Voice is very low, ma'am.
Yeah, this could happen. I told you already, you know, it's raining very heavily. The connection is very unstable actually. Trying to sustain. Is it better now? Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Yes, now it is fine.
Okay. Just keep a watch on these. If not the adjectives, please focus more on the adverbs and their usage. That should be better for your learning part than looking at all the set of adjectives, right? Just know the meanings of all of them. And once you also, like you see here, this extremely, highly, insufferably, they're all adverbs that show you some sort of degree, right? Some sort of, they're degree adverbs, mostly, if you look at them closely. It tells you more about to what extent, right? Even the next step that you have down here, not hopelessly, but deeply, wholly, perfectly, totally, then you know, almost, quite, sort of. So they, all of these sets have adverbs that show you degree and extent, right? These are very, very commonly used expressions, especially in speech, right? You want to intensify or emphasize on some point that you're making. You'll find the usage of these adverbs very, very abundantly in the both in the written and the speech, right? You'll see them very widely used. So take note of these adverbs. Have a special attention on this, and this can be very helpful for you. All right. Let me show not this one. Can does it say de-lexicalized verbs collocation? Can you not see that screen?
Screen is visible, ma'am.
Visible, no? Okay, all right. So somebody replied to me. No, so I thought. Okay, so you have a few de-lexicalized verbs here on the screen. I'm just going to quickly discuss some of them. So the first now, what can have be used with? So remember when we learned de-lexicalized verbs collocation, what you have to keep in mind is that all these de-lexicalized verbs, they usually talk about your routines, right? Something that people do every day, or it's about people's behavior, okay? And about habit and routine and other things. So most of this is associated with that part. So you will find the usage of de-lexicalized verbs more often to be associated with routine, behavior, habits, etc., etc. Okay, or our day-to-day activities. So that is where the usage of de-lexicalized verb collocation comes mostly. So the first de-lexicalized verb we have is have. Okay. Now, what is have used with? You can use have with combinations of something that is a category of food and drinks, or with talking, or with washing, or the act of disagreeing, the act of resting. So, what have a cup of coffee, have a glass of water, right? So, these are examples for the first category. Second, have talk, right? All of them can be. So, have a wash. Have a wash simply means to shower. Okay. Disagree. Have a fight. Okay. Have a tiff. Okay. Have a scuffle. All of them. So, act of disagreements can also be associated with the lexicalized verb have. Last one you have there is resting. Have a break. Okay. So, food and drinks, talking, washing, disagreeing, resting. These are a couple of activities or routines and behaviors that you can take with the de-lexicalized verb have. Okay, that's the first category. Now, the second one is take. The second de-lexicalized verb is take. It has to take a bath, and you have a list of them in the box that's adjacent to that diagram. So take care of, take turns, take a turn, take trouble, take the trouble, take a chance, take a risk, take a decision, take a photograph, right? These are all the commonly used, combination with take, the de-lexicalized verb take. But particularly when you want to suggest the de-lexicalized meaning of the verb take, then it's used with resting or washing, right? Take a bath, take a rest. Okay, did you understand this difference? They assume more of a literal meaning. To take a chance, take a rest, take a photograph, all of them have a little more literal meaning. Whereas take a rest, take rest, take a bath, they have more figurative meaning. And this is the meaning that is usually associated with de-lexicalized verb take. When take is used as a de-lexicalized, right? Then the next one you have is give, right? So give again has a set of categories that it can take along with it. The first one is noises, like give a cry, give a loud cry, then anything, something that is noise related. So one example, okay, then hitting, that is the act of hitting. So you can give a kick, okay, give a punch, right? Then the next category is affectionate actions, like give a hug, okay, give a kiss, right? All of them are. Then the last one is talking, give an answer, give a reply, give a response, right? So these are the 5 categories that go along with the de-lexicalized verb give. Okay. Now you don't have to learn it like this. These are things that we have taken up from our day-to-day conversations and just, categorize them to show you how these verbs work. So I in no mean way that you have to learn all of them like this. You will learn them usually as, in a spontaneous fashion through the speech and through the reading. Mostly speech, because de-lexicalized verbs are a part of your informal speech than of your written work. But this is just a categorization to show you that, how it works. That's it. So noises, facial expressions, hitting, affectionate actions, and talking. Okay. That's the categories you usually use with give. Now, the next one is make. Make, again, two categories mostly when used as de-lexicalized verbs. One is talking and sounds, and the second is plants. Make a sound. Okay. Make plants, right? So two categories for make. And then the last two that we have here, go, used with ing verbs for common activities. So what are common activities? Cycling, walking, skiing, go-karting, right? Shopping. So all those common activities with the ing endings, right? That is participle usage. You use go along with it. Okay? And the second one is verbs to do with moving, right? So if you have anything to do with moving, a verb that has got anything to do with moving, then again go will be the preferred de-lexicalized verb. So go for a stroll, go for a swim, right? Any verb that indicates or has any anything to do with moving. Let's go. And then the last one you have here is do. Do again is a very, very commonly used de-lexicalized verb. So what are the first one? What are the categories? ing nouns to do with work. Same like go. Okay. But the ones that has to do something with work. So cooking, right? Tailoring, anything, any ing nouns that has got to do with work. So do the cooking, do the washing, right? Do the tailoring. Okay. Second category, other nouns to do with work. So do the homework. Okay. Third category, with nouns when it is obviously what the action is. So do my hair. Obvious actions. Right? Do my hair. Do my pleats. Right. Obvious actions. The ending nouns or the other forms of noun. Any noun that has got to do anything with work will take the category we saw is that any obvious action, any other obvious actions will also take the de-lexicalized verb do with it. So you have how many of them? You have take, you have give, you have make, you have go, and you have do. So 6 de-lexicalized verbs is what you have in English. Right? Get this point? We don't have time for taking up the exercise, but before we do the next session, we'll have a quick exercise in this de-lexicalized verbs, and maybe we can revise all of the things that we discussed now there. Okay? So it will be far more clearer. It will be far clearer to you than it looks now. But have you understood what we mean by de-lexicalized verbs? Yes, no?
Yes, ma'am, we understand.
No?
Yes, we understand.
Yeah? All right.
Yes.
So, okay. So if you understand, then we'll just quickly do the exercise in the next class. We'll begin with this. Okay, maybe 10 questions or so with each of them, and not each of them put together, all these 6 verbs. So you'll have a better understanding of this, how to use it. Okay. All right. So I think we can stop for today, unless you have any questions. If you have any, you can ask them, or else we'll stop for today, and then I'll meet you next Tuesday again. Anything? Okay, then thank you so much. Thank you for joining in. I'll meet you next week.